in that. Dita empty tadi. Dia tre. With the permission of President Frost, may I request Mr. Jekerat to briefly give a small deliberation before we call the guest of honor and chief guest.
Very good morning. It's again an opportunity for me to welcome all the delegates, all the guests for today's, for these 2 days conference here. In fact, I'm one of the common man being attached to both the organizations, UCCI as well as the Frost, as I am also a founder member to the organization. And this particular seminar, when we decided to have from Frost, I thought that this is one of the best places that we should have it, and I can contribute the maximum. And today I'm very happy that it has started. So with this, I thank you all to be here and kindly enjoy the entire conference as well as the Bhubaneswar city, as my earlier speakers have already asked you to do that. Thank you.
I now call on Professor Kesav Deb, Director IMU Vizag, the guest of honor of today's international conference, to kindly give his deliberation.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes. Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Gokaran sir, President of Forum for Ocean Scientists and Technologies, Professor S.C. Misra sir, Honorary Secretary of UCCAL Dr. Sanjeev Mukapatra and Secretary of UCCAL Dr. Mohandi. I'm sorry, sorry for the yeah. Honorable Secretary of UCCAL Dr. Mohandi and Secretary Dr. Sanjeev Mahapatra, respected delegates, a warm good morning to one and all. It is a great honor and privilege for me to share stage with Professor Gokaran sir and Professor S.C. Misra sir, who are the pioneers among Indian naval architects, as well as highly renowned and respected figures in academics as well as industry. Also, I am thankful to the organizers of this conference. It's a forum for river and ocean scientists and technologies, FROST, and Utkal Chamber of Commerce and Industry Limited, UCCAL, for giving me this opportunity. I congratulate the organizers of this conference. It is admirable that one of the important aims of FROST is to generate awareness amongst administrators, bureaucrats, and public in general in relevant areas, disseminate knowledge among stakeholders, and assist government and other stakeholders in policy generation. Timing and the theme of this conference is in perfect alignment with the aim of FROST. In recent times, central government is paying more and more attention to the action plans for the implementation of Maritime India Vision 2030 and Maritime Amritkal Vision 2047. These vision documents are termed as blueprints of nation's maritime future. Because of the right timing of our conference on green technologies on coastal and inland transportation, its takeaways will have far reaching implications on the action plans frame for materializing India's maritime vision. I am saying this because most of the participants of this conference are directly or indirectly involved in the efforts for green transition of our maritime industry. Green technologies in coastal and inland water transportation in India are already recognized as essential for fostering sustainable development, enhancing economic efficiency, and mitigating environmental impact. With a vast network of rivers and an extensive coastline, India has significant potential to harness these technologies to promote cleaner and more efficient transportation system. One of the primary avenues for advancing green technologies in water transportation is the integration of renewable energy sources. Solar powered vessels such as solar ferries have been successfully introduced in states like Kerala. These ferries utilize solar panels to harness energy for propulsion and onboard systems, significantly reducing dependence on fossil fuels and lowering greenhouse gas emissions. Kochi Metro project is another notable development in this direction. This transitions not only mitigates environmental harm but also promotes energy independence. For green technologies to thrive, infrastructure development must prioritize sustainability. This involves constructing eco-friendly terminals and docking facilities that incorporates that incorporate charging stations for electric vessels and efficient waste management systems. Utilizing smart technologies can optimize operational efficiency and ensuring reduced energy consumption, and improved route planning to minimize fuel usage and travel times. The role of India government is crucial in promoting green technologies through comprehensive policies and incentives. Initiatives such as Jalamarg Vikas project aim to develop the inland waterways infrastructure while ensuring environmental sustainability. This project not only focuses on infrastructure development but also emphasizes the need for eco-friendly practices in construction and operation. Regulations encouraging the adoption of cleaner technologies and strict emission standards for vessels can further drive the industry towards greener practices. Harit Sagar guidelines and green tech transition programs are policies focusing on India's green and clean maritime future. Harit Nauka Green Transition Guidelines for Inland Vessels has been released by government in January 2024. A passenger ferry that runs on a hydrogen fuel cell launched in March 2024 to operate in Ganga River is another initiative towards green transition of inland vessels. Despite the promising outlook, several challenges remain. The initial cost of adopting green technologies can be high, which may deter investment. Additionally, the existing infrastructure may require significant upgrade to accommodate new technologies. However, the long-term benefits such as reduced operating costs, improved environmental outcomes, and enhanced public health outweigh these initial hurdles. Integration of green technologies in coastal and inland water transportation in India is essential for achieving sustainable development goals. By embracing renewable energy, alternative fuels, electrification, and sustainable infrastructure, India can significantly reduce its environmental impact while enhancing the efficiency and safety of its water transport sector. With the supportive policies, investment in research and development, and a focus on innovation, the future of water transportation in India can be both environmentally friendly and economically viable, paving the way for a more sustainable maritime industry. I am optimistic and I strongly believe that the outcomes of our today's conference will add value to the action plans for green transition of our inland waterways. Thank you.
The attraction of today's conference, Professor R.P. Gokan, ex-professor of Naval Architecture and ex-dean of postgraduate studies of IIT Kharagpur. He is a world-renowned authority on naval architecture and propeller design with over 40 years of teaching experience. Professor Gokan is also a distinguished alumna of IIT Kharagpur. Sir, we are indeed privileged with your presence in Utkal Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We again welcome you, and your august presence has definitely boosted the image of all of us. We request you to kindly address this in conference.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a rather unexpected and perhaps undeserved, should I say, requirement of or honor of being the chief guest at this conference. I was not expecting to be the chief guest, but Professor Mishra suggested that I might be, but being an optimist, I thought that both you and I would be spared a lecture from me, but things didn't work out quite that way. So, apart, the main reason for me to be the chief guest is that I am very old. And in our culture, we respect old age very greatly. Unfortunately, old age also brings various disruptions in one's ideas, so you'll please forgive me if I go off the track here and there. First of all, green technologies, the title of our uh, uh, conference this time. I should perhaps mention that all this I have been thinking while sitting there. So if the things are disconnected, please excuse me. Green technologies, mostly we are thinking on the energy front. What solar energy, as Professor Keshav mentioned, wind energy, atomic energy, battery, stored electrical energy. There are also opportunities on saving energy in the way that we use it. Some 10 years ago, there was a talk of high temperature superconductors in use in ships. I don't know what happened to it. High temperature superconductors are conductors which will conduct electricity with zero energy, zero resistance. And this is my understanding, I may be wrong. And this can be achieved by normal conductors only at absolute zero, which is impossible more or less. But there are apparently some materials which we can cool to minus 20 degrees or less, what can be achieved in a normal refrigerator, and get very near zero resistance to electrical currents. So this technology was touted some 10-15 years ago. There was a talk that the US Navy would build its next generation of aircraft carriers using this technology, but nothing has been heard of it. At least I have not heard about it. But maybe some of us can think on these lines. When screw propellers were first invented in the 1830s, one of the inventors talked about contra-rotating propellers. A large part of the energy which a propeller uses goes away by causing the water to rotate. So if you have two propellers rotating in opposite directions, one behind the other, that energy can be recovered. Unfortunately, there are mechanical complications in having two propellers on the same axis rotating in opposite directions. This problem was apparently solved by Japanese engineers maybe 20 years ago, and they built one or two ships with it. But after that, it doesn't seem to have become very popular. And then again, there is something called a contra-rotating pod propeller. You have a normal propeller and a propeller behind it rotating in the opposite direction with its own motors housed in a casing. This also was supposed to be a very revolutionary thing. It was developed in Finland originally, and then it was used in constructing two car ferries in Japan with great success. It was reported. But then again, after that, we don't hear much about it. But maybe these things are going on, and perhaps when we talk about green technologies in connection with ships or watercraft, marine transport, then we should look at these unconventional things in the way that we use energy. The second part, or the second half of the title of this conference, Coastal and Inland Water Transportation. Everybody recognizes its importance, and yet it is a subject which is not very prominent in our technical literature. We are happy with large ships moving in unbounded waters in deep water. As soon as it becomes shallow and there are constrictions in the way in which we can move our ships, things become more difficult, and our human nature, we try to avoid difficult things. For the last 20, 30 years, we have been talking about how water transport is the most efficient means of transport, the least cost, the lowest pollution, etc., etc. And somehow it has not progressed in the way that we wanted. I am particularly happy that at this conference the Utkal Chamber of Commerce and Industry is associated. It is the task of giving due importance to coastal and inland water transportation does not lie with naval architects and marine engineers and technical persons. It lies with commerce and industry. It is they who have to convince the public at large, the governments, etc., that coastal and inland water transportation can be a great advantage in our country as it is in, say, China or in European countries. So thank you very much for giving me this great honor. I am very grateful to you.
Thank you, sir. A request for the presentation of mementos to the guests on the dais. Mr. Ajay Patnaik to present memento to President UCCI. Mr. P.K. Panigrahi to present memento to President Frost, Professor S.C. Mishra. Dr. M. Joshi to present memento to Professor Kesav Dev. Dr. I.V. Solanki to present memento to our chief guest, Professor R.P. Gokarn. Thank you. Now we call upon Professor A. Surya Prakash to give the vote of thanks.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending this conference, and everyone has contributed a lot of time for this. Thank you very much.
So with this, the inaugural session comes to an end. I now request Professor S.C. Mishra to take over for the next sessions. Yes. Thank you.
Hello. We now, as a part of the inauguration session, we have the keynote address by Professor O.P. Shah. I will ask Professor R.P. Gokarn to chair this session, and it's indeed a proud privilege for me to introduce Professor Gokarn to the audience. How does one introduce Professor Gokarn? I can only say two sentences. He is the guru of all of us naval architects, and also many naval architects. This country's shipbuilding scenario, whatever it is, I think Professor Gokarn has a large amount to contribute to this. More than that, two more things I'll say. One, he has got not only the Distinguished Alumnus Award, but Lifetime Achievement Award from IIT Kharagpur. This is indeed a great honor. He has published 2 books. One of them is widely, I think most of the audience here might have already seen the book in some form or other on ship propulsion. And the second book, which has been released this year, is on maneuverability. The front page of the book is kept on the registration desk for those who want to know. That is there. And the book, perhaps, as Professor Gokarn says, will be shortly available in electronic form also. So with this, I request Professor Gokarn to please come and chair the session. Co-chair,